Day 3 of morning headlines here at the Voice of College Football. I love doing this. Love the concept. Hopefully you do as well. So we went for a couple consecutive days on Monday and Tuesday. We did those in a recorded fashion, running a little bit late this morning based on a number of obligations. And so I thought in terms of the turnaround time, it would be much quicker to do it live, number one, and then also to test it out and see what kind of response we get with the live audience. So if you're familiar, we did Wake Up College Football. Wake Up College Football, we did that for 5 weeks, and a bit of a laid-back kitchen concept morning show, talked about other things than college football. People did not enjoy that. Some people enjoyed it, no question. A lot of people, or a semblance of people, really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, not enough people found it and enjoyed it. The core of that show was the intent of bringing you headlines. For you old timers, grab the morning paper back in the day, grab the headlines, look at the headlines, can't wait to look at the box scores, all of that approach, that mindset, that concept. And so we're going to do that each and every day here at the Voice of College Football with morning headlines. And we've got some good ones in store for today. And again, let us know down in the comment section below whether you would like us to do this in a recorded fashion or a live stream. And I think the numbers may speak to that, but also leave your comments as well. We had somebody comment the other day that they would rather have it be recorded. It can be a little bit more polished. I can tighten it up. I can edit and so forth when we do it in that fashion. Comments and questions are taken pertaining to the headlines. So we're going to keep the show nice and tight and focused on the headlines. So if you're asking me about Michigan's recruiting ranking or the quarterback battle there, or whatever it might be, the 2024 Fresno State schedule, that is for another time. We're sticking to the headlines. And I know we've got 2 or 3 that are new for this morning. So let's get right to them. Appreciate everyone on the line. Again, if you've got comments and questions pertaining to the headlines, please leave a comment or question there and we will get right to them, because we've got a big commit coming in from Ohio State. The name may be familiar, and if you're not following recruiting, don't be either overly excited because it's not the legend, or don't be scratching your head thinking, why are they signing a 50-year-old, probably older than that, maybe a 60-year-old former legend, current legend, former great player. All right, let's get to it. And we take our headlines from ESPN. Nothing necessarily special about that. We have a number of options. We've looked at ESPN and CBS Sports, college football the past couple days. If you have a source of preference, please let us know down in the comments section below. So basically 2 main questions: record or live stream every day, number 1. Number 2 would be, what is your go-to source? All right, here we go. Ohio State's loaded 2025 recruiting class gained another cornerstone Tuesday, courtesy of an in-state commitment. Bo Jackson, 4-star running back from Cleveland and the number 136 recruit in the ESPN 300. Don't know what the rivals or the On3 or 247 Sports, which I typically use 247 Sports, especially the composite, of course, which is just that, a composite of all the rankings and rating services. Jackson announced his verbal pledge to Ryan Day and company, choosing the Buckeyes over finalists Alabama and Georgia. Not bad for Bama and Georgia to come into the Buckeye State. Not that they don't do it fairly frequently, but to go all the way to Cleveland for a player, you know he's got to be pretty special. Jackson, no relation to former NFL and Major League Baseball star Bo Jackson, is ranked as the 9th best running back in the ESPN 300 and the number 6 overall prospect in the state of Ohio for 2025. So number 6 in the state, number 9 running back. Ohio State now has its 8th top 150 commitment from the ESPN 300 in the 25 recruiting class, which is ranked number 1. This has been fairly common for Ohio State in recent years. both under Urban Meyer and Ryan Day, to shoot out of the gate with a great recruiting class and to be able to maintain that, maybe not at the number one position. I don't believe that Ohio State has ever had a consensus number one class, maybe by a particular service at some point, but no number one classes. Typically, there have been years, though. Again, number one class sometime in the summer has dropped back to 3 or 4. No issue there. I think anyone who understands recruiting and everything that Ryan Day's doing and what has been done at Ohio State in the past, especially Urban Meyer, who up the ante from what was being accomplished under Jim Tressel, which, of course, there was nothing wrong with Jim Tressel's run at Ohio State. It was exemplary, one of the great coaches in the history of college football. That a 3 or 4 ranked class is still exceptional. All right, the 6'1", 210-pound rusher out of Villa Angela St. Joseph's High School. I think I know that as St. Joseph's High School. Joins cornerbacks Naeem Offord, number 6 in the top 300, according to ESPN. Devin Sanchez, number 12. Defensive ends, London Merritt, number 36. So that's now 2 of the top 12 players, 3 of the top 36. Zahir Mathis, number 51. So roughly 4 of the top 50 players choose Ohio State. At this point, of course, there will be flips. And those flips are more frequent and more expected when they are out of state. I would think that this one would be fairly secure. Quarterback Tavian St. Clair at number 48. I don't know why that's out of order. Linebacker Tarvis Alford, number 59. Tight end Nate Roberts, among the top recruits in the Buckeye star-studded class. Bo, first offered by Ohio State in June of 22, committed to the Buckeyes following an official visit to Georgia last month and a trip to Ohio State this past weekend. He's the first running back commit to Ohio State. Jackson, of course, also carries the same name as Auburn's star running back of the 1980s. And his Bo moniker is, in fact, a direct nod to 1985 Heisman Trophy winner. I can't wait until he's interviewed, which he probably already has been, and asked about this. Of course, it's the number one running question concerning this guy, other than how good's he going to be, which top 150 player in the nation should be rather good if he fulfills his potential. But where does the name come from? Is he kind of into retro stuff and saw his last name and thought, hey, I love Bo Jackson, going to model myself after him, and went with Bo? Or was that a nickname that came from maybe a family member or a friend or somebody? Lamar Jackson. So he can go that route as well. So he's got his given name of Lamar Jackson. So pretty good there. Lamar Jackson segued with Bo Jackson, became Jackson's nickname at an early age, and it stuck. Multi-sport athlete starring in baseball and track, as most athletes of this caliber do. Notably, Auburn was the last SEC program to offer Jackson during his recruitment. All right. Bo Jackson, Ohio State's first running back commit. Ballard says, Bo Jackson. Mark, I saw where Kick Six legend Chris Davis's son, so that was in 2013. That was 13 and a half. Wait a minute. That was 10 and a half years ago. Son is a 2028 running back offered by Auburn. I feel old. Ballard feels old. Ballard feels old. Okay. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you being here, and get us to 100,000 with the like, and the subscribe button would get us to 100,000. So thanks so much for the comments. If you got any comments or questions concerning the headlines today, certainly chime in. And of course, the super chat is available. Also, Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App, those targets and those links are in the description section. More recruiting news. Here we go. BAMA flips dual threat 4-star quarterback Keelan Russell from SMU. Keep in mind, we've got an SEC show every Tuesday. We provided our first one on this past Tuesday. Check it out. Had two great guests in Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama and David Waters of Gators Breakdown. Again, we're going live with SEC Football Talk every Tuesday, taking your calls, and also with some of the best guests you're going to find anywhere this side of Paul Feinbaum. And I really don't know who his guests are, except he does have Stephen M. Smith on his show from time to time. Alabama's future at the quarterback position became clearer Tuesday when dual threat Keelan Russell, ESPN's number 81 recruit in the 2025 class, and the number 15 prospect from Texas, flipped from SMU, which is rare that SMU pulls in a top 100 player. Somebody go find the last time that SMU signed a top 100 player. I bet it's been a minute. So again, number 15 rated player in the state of Texas. That goes to show you the depth of Texas talent. They've got 15 of the top 81 players, according to ESPN. Russell's commitment marks Alabama's first pledge from a high school quarterback under Kalen DeBoer, which I got to think, based on Michael Penix, based on DeBoer's offense, based on the wide receiver play at Washington, is going to be the first of many. Russell, the 4-star recruit out of Duncanville, Texas, was previously committed to SMU. Russell's flip follows a 2024 class in which the Crimson Tide failed to add a passer following 5-star quarterback Julian Sands' flip to Ohio State. And I would say this to 247 in sports. In particular, as I was looking at their recruiting class, this was just on Tuesday when we were talking to Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama, and I was reviewing said class, that there should be some kind of distinction made about players that have either committed, signed, and transferred before they ever played for that particular school, or transferred at any time. That should be noted in the class rankings and noted for that particular player, because in this day and age, half the class is gone in 2 years. Russell is now the third highest ranked member of the Alabama 2025 class by ESPN. Russell initially committed to SMU on September 21st, 2023. The 6'3", 185-pound prospect. He's a lean guy. 6'3", 185. They're going to fill him out in Tuscaloosa. I would think told BAMA that they first made contact in late January, shortly after DeBoer and his staff arrived in Tuscaloosa. In a recruitment led by offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach Nick Sheridan, Russell said the Crimson Tide presented him with a clear plan and maintained consistent contact throughout the spring. And who knows, Kalen DeBoer and his staff, it appears based on that information, was probably in contact with Russell when they were still at the University of Washington. Quote, they laid out the spot for me on the depth chart. It's something a quarterback dreams of, Russell told ESPN. I felt like if I took the role that I could do some amazing things at high levels. I don't know that I'm on board with this first statement. Would love to know a little bit more about that first statement there. Do you see that? They laid out the spot for me on the depth chart. They laid out the spot for me on the depth chart before I have stepped on the practice field. And of course, this is a 2025 guy that the first time they're going to see him at Alabama, going to see him in crimson wearing the gear, is going to be, if he's an early enrollee, is going to be bowl practice at the earliest. I've been in touch with him almost every day since they began recruiting me. So this goes back to January, 6 months, 5 to 6 months. So that shows you the relentless nature of recruiting right there. in touch with him almost every day since they began recruiting me. Do you think that Russell made most of those initiations? I think not. If not every day, then every week they've been on me, really trying to get me there. As of the close of spring camp, Alabama's current quarterback depth includes returning starter Jalen Milroe, sophomore Ty Simpson, and redshirt freshman Dylan Lonergan and Austin Mack. So Milroe, the starter, of course, led them to the college football playoff and was a much improved quarterback after the first couple of games of the season. We all saw it. Great runner, big size, Cam Newton type build, and may fill into it a little bit more. And then, of course, proved to be probably the best deep ball thrower in the sport this side of Michael Penix, especially compared to the rest of his game in short and intermediate. So definitely compared to the rest of his throwing components, short and intermediate, great distance thrower, Jalen Milroe, but also compared to all these other guys across the nation, exceptional. And I'm not just talking about cannon, because most of these guys have a cannon. Talking about accuracy on the deep throw. Ty Simpson's been around for, it says sophomore. I got to think he's a redshirt sophomore at this point. It just seems like maybe it's just this day and age of guys transferring constantly that it just seems like Ty Simpson's been there forever. And then Dylan Lonergan, Austin Mack, huge pickup. Of course, he was committed to Washington. And once DeBoer scooted from Seattle to Tuscaloosa, he followed. Crimson Tide do not have a quarterback committed in the class of 2026. Does that need to be noted? Is that a problem? Is that an issue? They don't have a quarterback committed for 2026? All right. Russell pointed to the relationships he developed with the Crimson Tide's first-year coaching staff and Michael Penix's development under DeBoer. Just noted that at Washington as elements that helped flip his commitment to Alabama. There could have been a few other ones. Above all, however, it was an open spot and the promise of a future opportunity under center in Tuscaloosa that lured Russell from the SMU pledge he made nearly 21 months ago. I think I knew that Alabama could do some crazy stuff for me. He said, I'm going to get there and ball out for sure. Okay, boy, that I don't want to read into people's statements. And if you've been watching me for a long, long time, you know that I don't. But in this day and age of NIL, and it being different today even than it was 3 or 4 months ago in terms of what's out there, what's legal, what is under the guides of the NCAA, which of course has no power, and everything that they tried to restrict was defeated in court. When he makes the statements, they showed me where I stand on the depth chart. I don't like that statement. And then he says, after saying all these things great about Alabama, and we understand that Alabama, SMU, there's no comparison between where they stand in college football, of course. So even if this was pre-NIL, nobody's going to bat an eye over somebody transferring or flipping from SMU to Bama. And so then he notes Michael Penix's development and the opportunity to start in Tuscaloosa. And we should probably drop the term under center. I say that once in a while, but they're never under center anymore. But then when he chimes in with, quote, I think I knew that Alabama could do some crazy stuff for me. Well, I would think that 2 years ago, you knew all the crazy stuff that Alabama could do for you in regards to big time winning, gold standard of college football, all those things. Maybe Nick Saban and his staff did not recruit him at all. Maybe that's the point as well. So I don't want to read too much into that, but I got to think that NIL was a factor. Any comments or questions? Don't see anything there. All right. Any other headlines? There are two big ones there. So BAMA gets a quarterback for 2025. Ohio State gets a running back. And I'd like to look, and we will, to see where Bo Jackson and can't think of the Russell kid's first name, where Jackson and Russell rank in the composite. Texas A&M won't bring back bonfire for renewed Texas rivalry. All right, this is something that only people at Texas A&M care about, but we will march on. Texas A&M's traditional bonfire, which tragically ended 25 years ago, will not return to campus for the renewal of the Aggies' annual football rivalry with Texas. Maybe there was a push to reinstitute this tradition because it ended 25 years ago, unfortunately, because of what we're about to read, ended 25 years ago, but the Texas A&M game ended in 2011. So it ended for 12 years anyway. So it's not like Texas A&M left the Big 12 and this tradition stopped, and now there's consideration to reimplement this tradition again. It was already canceled. All right. A special committee had recommended bringing it back. Okay, that was my question. It's been answered. As part of the school celebration of the restart of the rivalry with the Longhorns next season. The recommendation had called for a bonfire designed by and built by professional engineers and contractors. In 1999, 12 people were killed and 27 more were wounded when the log stack collapsed during construction. Yes, I do remember that. Welsh said he considered public input and noted that many who responded did not want to bring it back if students were not organizing, leading, and building the bonfire. The committee, however, had said the only viable option would be to have it professionally built. That's a smart proposition. After careful consideration, I have decided that bonfire, both a wonderful and tragic part of Aggie history, should remain in our treasured past. Well said. The traditional bonfire before the Aggies Longhorns football game dated to 1909. The 60-foot structure. 60-foot structure. Go out to your house. Go outside. Look at your house. Your house is probably 20 feet tall. 60-foot structure. 5,000 logs collapsed in the early morning hours of that date in 1999, November 18th. Of course, this was built by students, not by professionals, killing 11 students and one former student. Man, anytime somebody passes away, I just think about, especially that it's been 25 years ago, we're talking about students that would now be roughly 45 years old. People that would be 45 years old now would have lived a life and enjoyed what life has to offer in those 25 years. The school has a campus memorial for the tragedy, and the 25th anniversary is upcoming. Texas and Texas A&M get together on November 30th. That will be a glorious day for college football. Can't wait to see it. Of course, Texas is back in the SEC, or they're in the SEC, and of course, Texas A&M left after the 2011 season. So, renewed rivalry there. So, some good coming to college football on the front of rivalries. That would be one right there that's been reestablished. Texas A&M. So again, we do appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. I think we have exhausted the headlines. We had 3 of them. If you just joined us, please go back and check out the other 2 videos. And again, if you're coming across this concept for the first time, keep in mind that this is what we want to do each and every day. Headlines here at the Voice of College Football, and deliver it a little bit early. We have recorded the first 2 days on Monday and Tuesday. We thought we would go live for a couple different reasons, just to check it out, try it out, and see if you guys like the live version instead. And also because we were running a bit behind and didn't have time to record and edit. So those are the headlines for a Wednesday here at the Voice of College Football. We've got an action-packed day at the Voice of College Football. It begins, well, it's already begun. But at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Steve Deace live right here to talk Michigan, the Big Ten, and the national landscape. So Steve Deace live at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. You will see those notifications go out very soon. So you should be a subscriber. Only about 40% of you are subscribers. So we could have a lot more subscribers here at the Voice of College Football. Please subscribe. It doesn't cost you a penny. Nothing. So please subscribe. And hit that bell for the notifications to know when we go live. And going live on this fine Wednesday, Steve Deace live 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Florida State live at 6. Miami live at 7. We've got a West Virginia show that's live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The Florida State, Miami, and West Virginia shows are, of course, on those respective channels. Steve Deace live right cheer. All right, that should be a fun conversation. I believe we are discussing S&P rankings and Steve's coaches rankings. Yes. So we've done this maybe 3 or 4 consecutive years. And I was a bit surprised the other day. Somebody contacted me the other day and asked, how long have you known Steve Deace? And I said, I think we started to get together in 2020. No, I went back and I saw, I couldn't even go back to our first communication and our first record or live stream together, but it was 2017, at some point in 2017. So Steve Deace has been coming on here for a long, long time. We certainly fully support what he does at Michigan Podcast and at the day job, does an exceptional job for truth and justice. All right. We appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. Please track us throughout the day. We had a conversation with Bill Bender of Sporting News. Check out that video. It should be the last video posted. Bill Bender of Sporting News. We premiered that yesterday. It's a great conversation. Bill developed a super league concept involving revenue, academics, winning percentage, national championships, and other factors into a 40-team super league. You might be surprised who would make the cut. All here at the Voice of College Football. We will see you at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for Steve Deace Live. Most of us are on the internet pretty much all the time. It's fun. You get to socialize, you get entertained, and in this day and age, it's pretty much necessary. And even if you're one of those people that's not on the internet all the time, you know what is? Your personal information. And there are people out there trying to hack you all the time. They want your email address, they want your phone number, they want your place of employment, and they want to do bad things with it. There's also fairly legitimate corporations and companies that want your information. They want it for marketing purposes. They're going to buy it. They're going to sell it. They're going to trade it. At the very least, it's annoying to you. It's a nuisance. It's aggravating. Your email gets cluttered up with spam email. You get robocalls all the time. That's at the very least. At the worst, it's a threat to your family, to your friends, to your personal information, to your banking, to your finances, to your security, to your safety, to your identity. it can be pretty serious. This video is sponsored by Aura. I got hacked and it was pretty obvious. This was about 8 or 9 months ago, and there were red flags all over the place. And I didn't exactly know what to do, but I knew I needed to do something quickly. I mean quickly. I researched 8, 10, or 12 companies immediately. I went all over the place. I asked people. I was online looking for the best company that could serve my needs and secure my information. You know who I found? Aura. And I'm glad I did. It was amazing. I contacted them. They got right back to me immediately. Their customer support is phenomenal. Their customer service is first-rate, friendly. They are detailed. They know what they're doing, and they do it right, and they will protect you. In addition to everything I just mentioned, they've got a password-keeping service. They keep your credit score. They notify you anytime there's a possible data breach. This has happened to me a number of times. I'm getting notifications all the time when there's a possible compromise to my credit score or anything that I don't want. They've got a VPN that will allow you to browse the internet anonymously. It's amazing. And again, customer service support available 24/7. Click the link in the description section below and get 2 free weeks of Aura. Protect your finances, protect your information, protect your privacy, protect your identity. I did, and I'm glad I did. Aura, thank you so much for what you've done for me, and now for my Voice of College Football community.